Charlemagne or Charles the Great, he is the one emperor you should remember of the Franks. And the Franks are a people that had their heyday in the time between the Romans and the Middle Ages. And Charles the Great is considered the father of Europe. But why is he called the father of Europe? Because he united the regions we call today France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, and parts of Italy. But how did he do that? He and his younger brother Charlemagne inherited a vast kingdom from their dad. But then Charlemagne died spectacularly from a nosebleed. But Charles was not called Charles the Great because he was good in inheriting stuff. He was called Charles the Great because he was good in smiting pagans and spreading Christianity. At first, he was very, very brutal with this, but he had an advisor, a teacher called Alcuin. And Alcuin spoke to his consciousness and said, Charles, bro, you cannot do this. If you want the people to truly believe in a Christian God, you have to convince them that this is a belief worth having. So they tried a softer approach. And one of these approaches included that they invented the Bible we know today. Before that, the Bible were different texts. And they took this collection of texts and published them in one book, the Bible we know today. The other thing they did, they made the texts more readable because they invented spaces between the words. And one last thing that is said that Alcuin invented was the question mark. For the first time in Europe, there was kind of a unity in a shared culture. But if he was so great, why isn't the whole of Europe called Charles Land or something like that? This is because Charlemagne was a Frank. And the Frankish tradition was that if you die, you split up the inheritance in equal parts to your children. Unfortunately, the grandsons of Charlemagne were not that great as kings. And one after the other lost their kingdom, lost their power. And the only traces of Charlemagne we have left in countries is the name of the country France. It comes from Franks. But there is also the former cathedral of Charlemagne. You see, Charlemagne was a very devout Christian. And when he built his castle in the little town called Aachen in Germany, he built himself his own cathedral, which is today the Aachener Dome, the Cathedral of Aachen. In this beautiful, very beautiful cathedral is also the coffin where Charlemagne was buried. You can see it and visit him, the father of Europe. And with this bombshell, I thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.